Duane Boodasingh.
Yep.
Real happy to have you here.
Glad to be here.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Indeed.
The reason I say that is because, like, I remember when I called you, you were like, "Man, I don't really do I don't really do interviews, you know."
Yeah. I am camera shy, I guess.
Yeah.
For that much. But I've been behind the camera.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Don't really do that as often again. I would like to get back into it, but it's just, even hearing myself right now,
It's a bit weird.
It's just,
It's a bit weird.
yeah.
But yeah, now
we
we happy to have you on. You
Glad
know,
to be here.
You have like one of the I feel like it had to be like one of the first popular Trini websites, TriniTuner. You know,
Yeah.
it's been around what almost. Did you say this year would be the 20th year or
2020 would be 20 years.
2020 would be
So we started in March 2000.
Right. Okay.
The whole concept stuff happened in 99.
Right. Okay.
But the domain was registered and we went live in March 2000.
Right.
So March next year would be 20 years.
20 years.
Even though really and truly in terms of operating and getting things going and telling people about it may have been closer to like April.
Right.
April, May kind of thing.
Before we kind of go into the details, so I think TriniTuner might be different to some people, right? Because for the real car enthusiasts, they see it as that thing for cars. For me, I love the Old Talk forum.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Peter Figuera, he's a real car man. He used to sell cars at BMW. He was a salesman there, and he always used to tell me about TriniTuner, and he always used to have news first.
Yeah.
And I was like, where you getting that from? He's like, man, you gotta go on TriniTuner.
Yeah.
So that is kind of how I got into the forums. I got into the Old Talk forum, and it was more for seeing breaking news.
Yeah.
But then just from being in the environment, I started to explore some of the other forums. And anything that you're into is not just cars, right? Because I was into photography, and there's like a thread going for photographers and bad weather and accidents or traffic or whatever. There's a lot. But how would you describe TriniTuner? Like, what is the website?
Well, so like formally, it is TNT's largest automotive website.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at it on its front page, you see a lot of motorsport.
Yeah.
We use the motorsport. We use the motorsport coverage to kind of draw in, an audience.
Right.
Similar to, I guess, how Red Bull would use X Games, things like that. It's exciting stuff. It's nice stuff to see when you come on the homepage.
Yeah.
Even though it's just one section of what we actually do.
Yeah.
But the entire site has kind of evolved over, the past 2 decades into what it is. The real evolution kind of took place early on. Because we started off initially, really and truly, doing just what we do now, going to events, taking photos, posting it up, right? And then people started to want to talk and communicate with each other. We started a bulletin board. Back in the day, it was just, simple text bulletin boards. You didn't have to register or anything like that.
So the main website was really just sort of like a front facing where you cover events and there's photography and thing, and then the forum came after, is what you're saying?
A little while after, about a year after.
Okay, right.
And we would go take photos of, nice cars, post that up, we call it the showcase. It's something we want to start back doing.
Right.
And with the startup of the forums, even though back then it was just a bulletin board, it was something that kind of was triggered right there because people didn't only want to talk about cars.
Right.
And I think it's really inherently a Trini thing. We start talking about one thing
and we just
it's like the conversational equivalent of Pinterest. You start looking at one thing and before you know it you're looking at something completely different.
It kind of makes sense, right? Because nobody's into one thing. So look, just downstairs before we before we started talking, and we started talking about like the rock scene in Trinidad or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would consider us all kind of tech guys, techie guys or whatever, Trinis. But we into a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversation.
So just because you're into cars doesn't mean that's the only thing you're into. You might be into photography. You might be into different things as well.
A lot of times I would tell advertisers or anybody that's kind of interested in the site that the audience we have, the guys are car guys, but they don't drink oil and eat gas. They're people. So you find that there's talk about what's going on in politics. There's like a 700-page thread on religion.
Whoa, okay.
There is...
I think there's a U.S. politics one.
U.S. politics.
Like all sorts of stuff.
There is weather. There is all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Building a house.
Yeah.
First-time fathers.
Wow.
They're talking about baby formula and formula. And
whoa.
Yeah. It's across the board.
Yeah.
And one of the things that kind of jumped out early on, too, in the early 2000s, was that people started to post stuff for sale. Hey, I have a set of wheels. I have I don't know, some car part, a headlight, if anybody interested.
Mm-hmm.
And then that grew into people selling other things.
Yeah.
I have a whole laptop. I have a fridge, a stove.
So they would. So just like any forum, anybody could kind of create a new thread.
Anybody could create a new thread, what we started to do was create new sections.
Right.
So kind of group the posts.
Yeah, so it would be easy to find as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that kind of grew, and then the classified started, and we have, car parts, cars, car audio, and then there was a miscellaneous bargain center.
Mm-hmm.
And right now you could probably find a washing machine, a bed, laptop, iPad.
I will tell you something.
Whatever.
This laptop that I'm using right now, I got this from a TriniTuner, man.
Well, look at that.
this iPhone that I'm recording on, I got it from a TriniTuner, man.
Yeah.
And one thing about TriniTuner, man,
I buy lots of stuff from
one thing about TriniTuner, man, they all treat their stuff like pristine. Like I've always had a good experience.
Right.
Like this laptop was in excellent condition. I got it at a great price. Same thing with the phone.
Yeah.
The man had it in the case. He had the original headphones, the earbuds that go with it on a screen and everything.
It's kind of like the local Craigslist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other part is like the local Reddit.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes down into the local 4chan, but we kind of try not to go there. But it's all local stuff that's happening. We kind of allow people to talk about anything they want to talk about. We'll never say anything is particularly off topic. And the users have actually been very helpful in terms of helping out with the site and molding it into what it is.
Right.
One of the things that we've seen happen, and I always kind of, not laugh, but kind of wonder about it, is that people always come to me and say, boy, the site is not what it used to be. Right? I've been hearing that literally since 2001.
Yeah.
Right? It changes. I mean,
is that like when new people come and then the thing changes? People who were like noobs and getting beat up on a few years ago, they're now they're
now
in control.
They're the ones running the forum right now.
Yeah, right. That's like when you go in Club Coconuts or whatever club you used to go to, and then all of a sudden your little cousin there, and like this place is not what it used to be.
For real.
I think I'm gone. I won't be here.
I'm not sure what they expect. We have users that some people would remember. Like there was this one guy named Tenko who claimed he was he always had he always knew what was going on in Westmoreland, right? But when you ask him, he said, "Oh no, I kind of cut grass in Westmoreland." So I live in outside Boodasingh or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we've always had characters, Uncle Bob was another guy, Pioneer. We've had a lot of characters pass through over the years, and people always ask about them.
Yeah.
But it changes. People grow up, people, move on kind of thing. Our real core demographic has always been a kind of 18 to 35 with the big chunk between 18 to 25 kind of thing.
Okay.
And what happens?
So I old by.
but yeah, so the thing is, I've been selling this audience or talking about this audience, and I am now outside of the audience.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I would see them post something and be like, "What the hell they talking about?" You jump on Google, try to find out what this is, Urban Dictionary.
What I've noticed though is like you're very much involved. You're very much involved in the forums.
Absolutely.
Like you're there commenting and taking part in discussions and part of the conversations.
Have to be.
Yeah.
It's a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
I absolutely don't feel like I work.
Yeah.
Right. I completely love it.
Yeah.
The thing is, it is a whole lot more than a car website.
Yeah.
But
it's a community.
It is an online community, and it's one of the first forms of social media. It is a form of social media.
It is. Right? Social media.
But it's one of the first forms of social media, we've had locally. I see people drawing reference to some of the stuff that happens now on social media.
Right.
Yeah. Some phrases that they use on social media that I remember started up on the forums.
Seriously.
Little things, But yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And
we
hope
evolving.
to continue. Yeah, always evolving. Yeah. We hope to continue.
So
not in any drastic way. I realize that when you change things too much, like when we jump versions, people complain and carry on and whatever.
Well, listen, before Reddit was as big as it was, there was also Dig. I don't know if you remember Dig.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dig was a similar setup to Reddit. It was a little better interface.
Yeah.
And at some point, they did a redesign.
And people went crazy.
People fled. I was part of the people that left Dig and went to Reddit. And when we went to Reddit, like all the Reddit users were like, "Let's welcome our Dig, our
migrators,
our Dig migrants." Yeah,
exactly.
Because they kind of fled, but they did a huge change though. Dig made something completely different.
You can't just completely change it. It will throw people off.
Yeah,
and they kind of feel. Particularly for online communities, they kind of feel, that I want to continue with this. So if you notice, like, Facebook would make changes.
People just get real vexed.
People go crazy.
And
for people who are not regulars, they'd be like, that's not really a big change.
Yeah.
But they change one little thing. They round off some icons and people go ballistic. It's crazy.
The thing is, like, people kind of get with the program after a while because I can't even remember what the version of Facebook was from 2 years ago that I thought was better. You kind of get used to it.
That's the thing with technology. We've taught ourselves to kind of move on.
Yeah.
So, we don't even remember what it was like before. I mean, think of what it was like before you had a cell phone.
Yeah.
We were all there. I don't think we that.
No.
But the thing is, I don't know how I would live without one. That's just how it feels.
It just becomes part of your life, everyday life.
Yeah.
So we want to dive into some like kind of details about the website, but before we do that, let's kind of go back a little before to what were you doing before TriniTuner?
Okay, so what? Well,
what is your background?
Yeah, my background
is it in development?
No, not at all. I'm a crappy developer. My background is actually graphics.
Okay.
Right. So
design.
Yeah, coming out of school, I did graphic design, did art,
right.
all of those things.
Yeah.
I still feel I can't draw to save my life, but I've heard other people say.
Well, listen, I worked in agencies, most of my adult career, and a lot of graphic designers can't draw. Old school fellas could draw, but all the new ones,
you don't need to.
It's only on a computer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So came in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Actually, my first job was at TriniTuner. Make copybooks.
So
one of the first jobs I had to do was design some new copybook covers.
Right.
And back then they were moving away from the black and white coat of arms and the timetables behind.
I remember the timetables behind. Right. I rarely used to look at that because I didn't know my table.
Correct. What the hell is a decaliter? So what we started to work on, it was John Camacho. He's actually a developer. I don't know if you all know him. Pixel Station.
Yeah.
Right.
So John was there at TriniTuner, him and Kay Fernandez, and John was doing graphics.
Right.
And I was actually doing the thesis for my A-level art class, and you had to do a book. I did it on airbrushing. I was into airbrushing then, and that's how I met John. I went to print some stuff at Trinidad,
Right.
and I guess he asked me, if I was working,
Right.
Yeah.
but I was still in school, so I
Yeah.
actually was at Trinidad a little bit while school was going on, and like
Okay.
that summer right after, and then I just started, just jumped in and worked there for a couple of years, and then I went up to Port of Spain. We had some stuff to scan.
Right.
And there was a company named CIM around the Savannah. They were right upstairs, Hot 93.
CIM, what did that stand for?
Caribbean Interactive Multimedia.
Okay.
Right. And I went up there, met a guy named Edward Monstrin, Eddie.
Yeah.
Right. And he lives right down the road.
Right.
So he had asked me same thing, hey, I see you do some 3D stuff and that kind of thing. We looking for somebody like that. And
3D.
Yeah, so I was kind of just dabbling into graphics, and 3D was something brand new
Was
then.
now kind of emerging,
right,
yeah.
absolutely.
Because what year are we talking about here?
This was 96.
Right, okay.
Yeah, right. And I started working there, right? We were working on something called Africa, the Mother of Civilization. It was an interactive CD-ROM that was developed here.
Whoa.
And the owner of CIM was actually Brian Jara and Ingrid Jara, right?
Okay.
Brian is and Ingrid have big screen, which is IMAX.
Right.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Right. Can't remember the exact name of the company.
Yeah.
But Brian went off afterwards to do this Massey company, 360 Communications.
Okay.
Right after CIM. Eddie and I went off. We had joined up with Ronald Shuffler at the Rosette's company, and we were right opposite Trotters, upstairs, Laptop City.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And it was around then, actually, Rosette's first office, the first office that I was in was in Cascade. And it was sometime around then that I like cars. I always like cars. Ever since school days, I like cars. And I decided, look, I do websites, right? Because, okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. When I was at CIM, one of the things they also did was websites for companies.
Okay.
Right? So they
That must have
did,
been the real early days of website
oh, yeah,
design.
yeah. Some of the first web pages for TSTT.
Right. Wow. Okay.
I worked on the
So
first...
CIM did that.
Yeah, Caribbean Interactive Multimedia.
Right.
And one of the first websites for Republic Bank. Right.
Wow, okay.
We did while at Rosette, started at Rosette, continued it afterwards. Let me see. When we kind of moved around a little bit. Same group.
Yeah.
Ronald had migrated, so Rosette's, which was a company that kind of did maps, and they would sell ads on the maps. Eddie and I continued the.
This is physical maps.
Like
physical printed maps like Tidco and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Eddie and I continued doing the websites, right? Interactive CD-ROMs. We did at CIM. We did a CD-ROM for CARICOM.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And back then, we would use Macromedia.
Flash.
Well, not even Flash yet. It was Macromedia Director first.
Right. Okay.
Right. I mean, I started in the Aldous PageMaker, Coral Draw, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So but anyway, we used Macromedia Director then, and I would do some graphics, and Eddie would take it and make it interactive. Make this a button, and I would have to do a rollover.
Like back then, that's like one of the most cutting edge companies in Trinidad. Like, I mean, for the time, like that was real cutting edge.
Cool
Nobody
stuff.
else was doing that. Nobody else was doing that at that point.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
The CD-ROM we did, that Africa Mother of Civilization, was actually, I think, if I remember correctly, Dr. Ben Yokanan. He was a Egyptologist based in Egypt. And he came to Trinidad and went through the stuff with Brian and Ingrid, So it was well researched and all that kind of thing.
Proper.
And some of the graphics I did, 3D fly through of a tomb, right? And
Whoa.
you know,
so could we get the CD-ROM today?
oh my
That
god,
would be like a trip back in time.
I wouldn't even know where to put it.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
That's
true.
This laptop don't even have that.
Yeah. So
it was a full service ad agency, or it was special. It was more like a digital.
It was more
agency.
digital agency.
So websites and these interactive CD-ROMs and that thing. That's so cool.
And this is like
So
what year?
is that like the first digital agency in Trinidad? Or
So
I guess
yes.
they weren't even calling themselves that back then.
Yeah. Trinidad
was
was like 94 to 96.
Yeah.
CIM was 96 to maybe 98.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rosettes was about 98 to 2000.
Right.
And then Evolve New Media, which was
That's Eddie.
Eddie, right? I was creative director there until about 2004.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And in that time, you know, we worked on websites for a lot of companies. I believe the last site I worked on at Evolve would have been Port Authority.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of kind of like government work or like big corporate clients.
Corporate
like
clients,
Republic
NGC,
Bank
Republic Bank.
Yeah.
We did some stuff at TSTT early on. You know, so yeah, it was a lot of that kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
Some smaller companies may come to us to do their website, etc. John Camacho actually came in at Evolve for a year or so or two, and his office was there.
Was
but
there
he was still Pixel Station,
right.
but he would help out with some of the development.
That's Carlos Street, right?
Carlos Street in Woodbrook. Yeah. So you know, I was there up until 2004. But coming back to TriniTuner itself.
Yeah, so
what happened?
Did you launch TriniTuner while you were working there, or how did that happen? I mean, how did you even get the idea?
Ronald Shuffler, who was Rosettes, right? That was one of the companies we kind of migrated into.
Yeah.
When they were, CIM was around Memorial Park, and Ronald's brother-in-law, Rolf Francis, he was working there too, right? And I had an idea to, you know, do a website about cars. Now, Rolf had a site called Auto Advantage, I think it was, right? Capital AD for Advantage. So he was selling advertising for cars, you know, used cars, buy and sell kind of thing. And he had,
so it was a classifieds for cars.
And this is 1998 kind of thing I'm talking about.
Like who even had internet to check that website?
For real. So I was into cars, and Roll was into cars too, and you know, we kind of we're always talking about car stuff and drag racing and whatever.
So you like in the scene, in the drag racing scene, in the car scene?
Not so much back then. I mean, I was a spectator, right? You know. So what happened next was Roll had gone to Wallerfield and he had taken some photos and he put it up on his Auto Advantage site. Yeah. And people were kind of like, you know, interested in it. So I told them, you know, well, let's try and do this on its own. Yeah. So I came up with this TriniTuner name, and it kind of came out of a magazine I used to buy a lot called Import Tuner.
Okay.
I know Import Tuner,
you know, they have a nice car, hot chick in front of it, and you know, they'd feature stuff, and you go through it, and they'd talk about parts and modifications and that kind of thing. Yeah. Import Tuner was, so you had like Road and Track, which was, you know, the stuffy talk about a brand new car and a test drive, and then you had like other. They have so many other magazines.
I know there's like What Car and Driver.
Yeah, right. But those are about new car stuff. And then you had like Super Street magazine, which was, you know, the import scene kind of thing. And Import Tuner was purely the import scene, right? SoCal, that whole, you know, Honda Civics and the whole Fast and Furious type thing.
And those were all magazines back then.
Yeah, those were magazines. And Sport Compact Car was another popular one. And I said, you know, well, let me make a site that was kind of like this. So what we did was I kind of put together a logo, and I said, you know, let us take some of those photos at Wallerfield. So we went up there again, next race event, and took some photos, put it up on the site, and we had this website, and we registered TriniTuner in 2000.
TriniTuner.com.
TriniTuner.com.
Mm-hmm.
I had it registered, basically worked out the design and the development. I mean, back then, you're doing coding in like Notepad.
Right? Yeah.
You know?
So
did the graphics.
version 1 of the websites was what was it?
It was, you could go to Wayback Machine and take a look at it actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It was a front page, big clunky buttons, rollovers.
Yeah.
In them days it was frames and tables.
Yeah.
Right. And we did a couple of shoots with
So you had like a
local cars that were
gallery,
nice.
you had like a photo gallery or something?
Photo gallery. We called it the showcase.
Okay.
Right. We had events that we covered. We did a couple new cars. And then we had the forums. Right. Well, the forums came a little while after. And
so tell me about, so when you first launched like version 1 of the website, what was the traffic like? Was there Google Analytics back then? You could find out how many visitors you have and that
You
kind
had
of
a counter on the site?
We had counters.
Popular back in that time.
So we had counters, and what we would do is, not something is a little frowned upon now, but there would be street racing by Val Park.
I remember that
on the foreshore around the savannah.
Yeah.
And there were always these characters,
Yeah.
guys that were always there.
Yeah.
But how did people find the site after you all?
We kind of told them about it.
Right.
So you were just because you were
literally
very much in the scene.
Yeah, didn't
you
really
would
have
go
Google
to the
then.
events.
It had like a web crawler.
Yeah.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Name another one. Alta Vista.
Them kind of.
But I mean, I guess because you're there at events and you're taking photos, people are going to ask you,
where
going to see those photos, boy? Oh, well, go to TriniTuner.com.
Go to TriniTuner.com.
So it was basically like that?
Yeah.
You had T-shirts and stuff back then as well?
Yes, we did T-shirts.
And you would go to these events,
go
cover
to the events, give out these little cards with the logo on it. Things like that. We'd go to car shows back then. You had some promoters like Zach's Auto, names people haven't heard of in a while. There was Southex back then too. We just kind of spread the word a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't really have search engines or anywhere.
So it's very much kind of on the ground kind
of
marketing.
It was very much on the ground.
Talking to people.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't doing like... well, there was no Facebook, right? There's not like Google ads or anything.
No.
Like you literally had to talk to people. Hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Check out my website, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you all went to all events. Like how often you all were like covering events?
We would try to go as often as possible. It's not as often as we do now.
Yeah.
Right. We cover like literally every single event.
Wow. Okay.
Motorsport event that is.
Yeah.
We would try to do as much as possible. To be honest, digital cameras wasn't a cheap thing then.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, not everybody had one.
Not everybody had one. Yeah. So at first we started off with film cameras. You had to go and process it.
You had to go and develop it.
And then scan it.
Right.
And then put it in and resize it. Right? Yeah, I'm talking...
You see how these young people today... you see how these young people today spoiled?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Color correct and all of that. But... I remember there was one camera we had, a Sony Mavica, right? I don't know if you know that, Dexter. It was these floppy disks, right?
I remember the floppy disks.
Yeah, the not the 5 1/4, the 3 1/2 floppies, right? And you would literally have like 5 boxes of those because each one could probably hold 8 photos.
Yeah. And they want to keep taking photos, so keep dumping them off.
Right, you slide it in there. And what happened was, at the office after work, I'd sit down and work on it. So TriniTuner actually is myself and Darren Dore. He is the webmaster at UE, right? All campuses. And Rolf Francis was there from the beginning. So he was part of the company.
Right.
Rolf passed away. And we kind of split ways somewhere around... I think in the later 2000s, right? Before 2010. And you had people like Nibert Marin, he has brand name motors now, right? He used to come up to the office all the time check out what we were doing. And I remember him standing up on this side, roll on that side, and we looking at some photos, and they like screaming at me because I'm taking like 10 minutes on one photo because I wanted just perfect, and they'd be like, that's okay. And I was like, no, that's not okay,
But I have a question though. So you go into a lot of details on TriniTuner there, but this whole time, did you still have your job in the advertising agency?
Well, yeah, so it wasn't really, it was like a digital agency kind of thing, right? So yeah, I was working there.
Yeah.
I would do stuff and do work, and then after work I would stay back.
So after work on weekends, you'd be shooting.
Yeah, weekends
you'd be shooting photos or whatever, and then after work you'll be uploading, polishing off photos or touching up photos or whatever.
But it wasn't just you doing all the photography and stuff, right?
No, so initially when I started, Roll, Darren, and I, Nibet too, would take photos, right? And we then saw, other guys shooting.
Right.
And some of those guys still shoot with TriniTuner. Jared Wilson. I remember Jared at a drag event, and he had this little, what was it, boy? Was it a Minolta or something, right? It's maybe a Sony. He would remember. And, guys like, Lydon Thomas came in a little while after. Devinat. I actually knew him from before. Went to a rally event, saw him there with a camera. I was like, hey, and we've been good friends since.
Right.
Who else? We have a ton of photographers now. Zeus Edwards. He does great photography.
So when were you able to
Dumpling? I don't know if you all know Dumpling.
Yeah.
All of these guys, so they would shoot, and there are a lot of other guys too who have their own little thing going on, like Trinidad Motorsport News, Trinidad Tobago Motorsport News, Stefan. So he would send stuff as well.
Right.
We share some of his stuff. And early on, let's say like around 2001, I was up at the track and I saw this other guy kind of doing the same thing we doing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, hey, what's going on? He's doing this. And he was like, yeah, I actually doing a magazine. And that was Zoss Magazine.
Right?
So Naren and I have been real good friends since that day.
Right.
We collaborate on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a real journey, and a lot of people and everybody kind of collaborating. And on the website forum side of it, a lot of users, you get to know them. May not know them personally. Some of them I'm not even so sure what they look like.
Right. Or their real name.
Or their real name, right? But you know them as users on the forum.
Yeah.
Some of them you could see, so early in the early days, I would see users being helpful. Reach out to them. Hey, would you like to be a moderator?
Right.
And at one point we had like 50 moderators. Technology now kind of allows us to not really need that many, but there are still guys who jump in, and do stuff.
Yeah.
But like how your number of users and moderators grew from then to now? Because I'm sure like, you have way more users.
Oh yeah. So I mean it's been almost exponential growth, and we continue to see growth. Back then we had to convince people to go online. Early in the, you were asking me about how you get people onto the website. You have to not only convince them to check out the website, you'd have to convince them to get online.
Yeah, right.
Dial up
they need to they need to pay for internet because they're not even on in the internet.
A 14.4 baud modem or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a challenge. Now we no longer have the challenge of getting people online.
They're already online.
Yeah,
come to the site.
What we need to do is get them on the site. So what we see now is like a big set of growth in search traffic, right? So we've been putting some attention towards that. So in terms of, we never really had to do search engine optimization, but we always ensure that it's easy to find.
Yeah. I think that's hugely important because quite a few times when I'm like troubleshooting something and I'm searching for something, it's a forum that would often appear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Quora is actually good for that too.
Yeah,
Quora posts come up as well.
For developers, Stack Overflow.
Yeah. But before we go forward too much, so when were you able to, because you do TriniTuner, you're doing full time, right? That's your full
since
time?
2004, actually. So
when were you able
the
to
weekend I got married
to bust out from the agency and say, okay, guys, I going into this thing full time?
So
were you able to monetize already by that point?
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
The weekend I got married, right? I'm trying to remember now. My wife gonna kill me.
We will edit out this part. Or we'll just put up the date in like a local or something.
It was June 20th, 2004.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Score some brownie points.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Friday before the wedding
Yeah.
was the last day I worked. Right? And after that, I just decided to do it full time.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So that was nerve-wracking because,
I can imagine,
you know,
because you're about to get married.
correct,
Yeah.
start a
And
family.
once you're married,
and all
there's
that
more
kind-
bills, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a little thing. But when we started in 2000, we weren't sure how we were going to monetize, right? We were like, you know, okay, so we're doing this. Do we sell parts? Do we sell cars? You know, Raul was always a charismatic kind of guy. He was really the mouthpiece on getting stuff done. He had some car shows. He gave away a whole car.
Wow.
And some of the
Okay.
shows, you know, we had Car Crazy and Show and Shine and that kind of thing. We had one at Movie Town, and it literally shut down the place. This was in the early 2000s as well. And, you know, he was always that kind of charismatic guy. Darren and I were kind of, you know, working on the site and some of the technology and whatever we could use. Richard Williams, Dry, better known as Dry, he has been doing, you know, a lot of the server side stuff on the side. But
So it's a group of y'all. It's a partnership.
yeah, so one of the things, not really like employees, but you know, a bunch of people that I could outsource stuff to, like Ryan Olton, for example, Olton Interactive. Ryan does a lot of his stuff on the side these days.
Okay.
In fact, you know, I can't remember the last time I actually did
But
any
who's the
development.
owner of TriniTuner?
No, it would be Darren and I are directors.
You and Darren. Okay.
Yeah, and we would outsource a lot of stuff,
Right.
right? And yeah, Darren actually has his own project he's working on called Cyber Safe TT,
Okay.
right?
What's that about?
Yeah, you should check it out. It's basically keeping. It's primarily about safety for kids and that kind of thing online. So
Okay.
he would go to schools,
Okay.
you know, and talk to kids about, you know, being safe online. But it's a cybersecurity
I think that's
type thing.
super important.
Yeah.
Very, very,
Yeah.
very much.
In this day and age, is super important.
Yeah, I actually borrowed a device from him called, is it a Panda? It's, I can't remember the name of it. It's a little box you plug into your router, and you let your kids join on that Wi-Fi network, and you could actually go in and block sites and block content, and they actually go and scour through and see what YouTube videos you know kids shouldn't be looking at.
Yeah.
So you set the age and different accounts. You could set different things, and you can actually track what your kid's looking at. Because I mean, you hand a kid an iPad, and you know,
get up on.
And you know how
Yeah.
YouTube goes, you could stumble upon all kind of weird thing.
Yeah.
definitely.
Go deep down your rabbit hole.
All kind of weird stuff. Okay, so yeah, so you're at some point you were able to monetize through.
So what I was saying
what
is,
is the advertising?
at the
first?
point in time I was working on Republic Bank's website.
Yeah.
What's this? Elena Villafana was kind of leading the project then at Republic, and they had a few products that we were working on web pages for. One of them was Career Builder, another one was their credit cards. And while building the web page, I said, you know, I called up, I said, Elena, I have this kind of website project going on here, and you know, last week we got about 550 visitors.
Right.
You know, let me pop a little graphic.
Yeah.
That would link to the new website we're working on, and people would, you know, learn about it,
Yeah.
right? she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. You know, let's do it. You know what that would cost. And we started doing banner ads.
Right.
And this was before we had heard what a banner ad was.
Right.
You know,
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it kind of continued there. I mean, digital display advertising is a big thing now.
Yeah.
You know, we also do like native advertising and that kind of thing. But yeah, we've kind of grown with it and changed the way it works. But it's the same concept. I mean, back then it wasn't any code; it was just a graphic on a page.
Yeah.
You know, open bracket, image source.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
JPEG and yeah.
So tell me about the visitors. Like, was there a point when it just kind of the website blew up? I mean, where are you now as far as visitors and were you able to sort of like track over time?
Yeah.
Like, was it one big event that had made it sort of?
No, it was.
Or was it gradual?
Yeah, it was
growth,
just a gradual
year
growth.
over year.
Correct.
So if you look at the trends, it's just
there
like
was,
a steady
there was a
upward
ramp up.
trend.
There was a big ramp up around the end of, you know, coming up to 2010 kind of thing. It has remained mostly around where it is since then, but we do see gradual growth. We've seen growth in search traffic.
Yeah.
Right. The mobile app also has been, you know, helping to increase the traffic as well. So, according to Google Analytics, we probably see around 8 million page views a month. From, if I remember correctly, about 140,000 individuals.
Right.
And I think visits are around 350,000 or something like that.
A month. That's
Right,
real
that's
good.
a 30-day period.
That's some real good numbers.
What
And
what-
that is not just good numbers. That's like a highly engaged community.
Yeah, so
Because you're not
actually-
talking about people who just kind of go on and then pop off. These are people that go on and stay in and engage and
Correct.
yeah.
So like one of the things we kind of pride ourselves on, the average session is around 20 to 25 pages.
Wow.
Whoa.
Right. Lasting about 10 minutes, 9 to 10 minutes.
That's real good.
And,
That's real good. That's
and the
excellent.
bounce rate hardly ever goes over 2%.
That is the lowest bounce rate I've ever heard.
It is something I absolutely pride ourselves on.
Wow.
Far more than the amount of page
That's what I'm
views
saying.
and
It's
visitors
a
and that kind of
highly
thing.
engaged community.
Yeah. And you know what happens too is that when we do run ads, people are kind of they click on it more. If I were to run a campaign, because we do digital agency type stuff, someone would come to us and, you know, they would say, we want to run a campaign online, but we want it on TriniTuner, we want it on Facebook, Instagram, we want it on LinkedIn, we want it, you know, and on Google Ads as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, we do the whole thing for them.
Okay, I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah. So
it makes sense though.
when I look at the numbers though, the
Click-through
rates that
on
we see
TriniTuner is higher.
Oh, much higher, right? Sometimes 10 times higher.
Wow.
Depending on the product, because people don't feel as though you're disturbing them at that point in time.
Yeah.
If I were to see a local ad on recipes.com or WebMD or CNN.com, I went there for one thing and then left.
Yeah.
On TriniTuner, they're there on TriniTuner. So in fact, our top search term is TriniTuner, right? Not you know, cars or cars for sale or anything like that.
Yeah.
Our direct traffic is high.
Yeah.
Our social traffic is pitifully low. We have not been doing our due diligence on social media. You know,
But I don't
really
see that.
want to. We
Is that
should
a
be posting
thing
more.
though? Do people post links to forums from social media?
Not really forums, but you know, a lot of the content that we have.
You mean like the news articles
and stuff
and that
stuff
kind
that's
of thing.
happening. You know, check out this conversation here. Somebody may have posted something for sale, and then they would you know, post a link on social media. But yeah, we should be doing more, because I really don't see digital as a either or thing. You know, oh no, we're not doing Facebook, we're doing Google, or oh no, we're doing TriniTuner, not Express or something like that. You know, so I think it's something that you should be doing as much of them as possible, because there are some people who are on some sites and some people who are on other sites, and you know, So yeah, it's
Are your users on Facebook as well? You would say, or they're
yeah.
less on Facebook?
We do see a few users. You know, sometimes someone would post a link, and it would be to a page that you need to log in to be able to see.
Yeah.
And users would reply, "Hey, I not on Facebook or whatever. You know, I give that up, or I'm not going to be there."
Yeah.
And they're forum users, and they're the type that might probably be on Reddit a whole lot. You know, so yeah, they're just different types of people.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a question for you. So, like, how were you able to sort of kind of keep the community going in the face of the popularity of social networks? Because they have all these WhatsApp groups now, where again breaking news. You have some of these Facebook pages that have all the kind of bacchanal type news first or whatever.
Well, the thing is that I see, one, we've grown an online community.
Yeah.
Right? People kind of know where to go and get that information if they needed it. Whether it would be help for a car, looking for a part, or, something that's on the forum. Right? But that's just one aspect. The other thing is, forums are inherently different from other forms of social media. And you know that. I mean, just now you said, if you need help, if you're trying to figure out how to hard restart your phone,
it's true,
you would more than likely, when you Google it, you'll more than likely end up on a forum.
Because that's kind of where you find expertise in certain topics.
Correct.
Like I feel like Facebook is for the normies.
Yeah. Or sometimes, I mean, I don't know if they're trolling, but you would find some answers that are absolutely incorrect. But it's there anyway.
But I'm sure there's like an expert who would like comment after and say, no. There's the real scene.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
You're going to put your phone in DFU mode when you're really trying to just restart it. But so the thing is, that helps with search engines because once it's posted on the forum, the search engines can find it.
Right, of course.
Other forms of social media don't really lend to that too much.
Yep.
If you were to reply to someone on Facebook, you go and try and find that.
Nope.
You're not going to find it.
Especially, I mean, it's probably private as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you need some kind of authentication.
Even public Facebook posts like those don't show up in search or comments or something. No, so that's a good point.
Yeah, so you're going to need some form of authentication to get through there.
Yeah.
The search engine's not going to show it. They may show, I mean, you search for a page, yes, you'll find the page, right? But comments on something, you saw someone post last week, and you're like, hey, let me post this as a meme to someone else. You go and try and find it on like hard luck, you know? So all of those things kind of lend towards, keeping that forum platform going. Because, I mean, it is old technology, right? We've not done any big advancements in forum technology much at all. It's still a pain to, add images or something like that. And the mobile app kind of helps out with that a little bit. But as far as, I mean, Dexter, we're not using any big set of technology here to no algorithms, nothing like that. It's what it is. And the algorithms actually, I think, help keep content away from people. If I look at my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed versus my wife's own, it's completely different.
So that's actually a good point, because the news feeds are sort of they give you what they think you want to see based on what you've engaged with. Whereas if you're in the TriniTuner forum and you go on the old talk or whatever, you see all these sort of latest topics or whatever, it's like not really customized. So you might be you have a better chance of being exposed to something that you didn't even know you were interested in.
Exactly, and then you get a whole bunch of different points of views.
So that's a good point. Now, what about the whole... With social networks, I mean, people is changing name to all kind of like sexy girl 59 or whatever. But in most cases, they have their real name. Do you think there's a benefit to the whole anonymous thing of the forums and websites like Reddit?
Yeah, that anonymity.
Right? I can't even say it. I can't even say that word.
Being anonymous on a website, on a social website, helps for a lot of things, there are advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
But there is a certain appeal, particularly when people want to talk about certain things online.
Yeah.
Now, regular users, a lot of people know who they are.
Yeah.
And they've kind of built that social profile on the forum over a period of time. But a lot of times people just want to come and post a car for sale. They don't want people to know who they are, etc. And forums help, with that because it's anonymous. You could create any name you want. And we've kept it like that for a particular reason because of the advantages and the security of that. I mean,
I think people could talk more freely.
Yeah.
Well, they do.
If they
do.
They are anonymous.
Yeah.
Which could kind of go the other way too.
Yeah.
Which could kind of go the other way too, because you're anonymous, so you might say whatever the hell you want.
4chan.
Yeah.
like the 4chan.
Correct.
So what about moderation now? Has it been difficult? How do you handle moderation?
Initially it was tough, and luckily a lot of users had stepped forward to be moderators.
Okay.
A lot of them still are, right?
And they're not like paid or whatever. They do this just out of the love of.
Yeah, they're just community users, and I just give them the ability to, if you see a thread out of place or something out of place. But I would never ask them, hey, go and clean up that forum or go and do this. The most time I do is give them a little shout and say, hey, I see you move this, or what's going on with this user or something like that. But a few years ago, we integrated the ability for any user to report a post.
Okay.
Right.
And that made a really easy list for us to go through and see, what needed to be done very quickly.
Do you have like rules that are like defined on what
absolutely.
what is allowed, what is not allowed?
What amazes me is how well users actually conform to those rules.
Right.
Okay.
Without much effort. For example, if you say any classifieds, you can't post more than 2 topics so that no one floods out the forum. It kind of leaves it open.
Yeah.
So you could post 2 ads. If something sells, you can move it and post something else.
This is the free version, right?
Yeah, the free version, right? And people adhere to that. I mean, every now and then you would have some users who would come and try to flood the forum, but
are they normally like new people, new users?
Sometimes no. Sometimes, a guy very well knows what's going on, but, he would post anyway. And there are loopholes. There are loopholes. A guy could go and create 5 different accounts. So we do some tracking and we do find it, but technology has allowed us to, not require as much human effort behind keeping the forums in check as much. Every now and then, you might see some Russian spam bot pass through and like flood out the whole thing with posts. But again, technology will let you, quickly just remove that.
Ban the account.
Yeah, just clear out all the posts, ban the account. Delete the account.
Right.
Has the technology used on the site changed in a very, very big way? I mean, from the earliest, I'm sure there was a bit of a jump. I mean, a lot of sites, when the site first started, they didn't have like a database and stuff before the forum.
No,
like the forum would have introduced that.
Yeah, the forum would have introduced the database. Otherwise, it would have just been HTML
static
pages, right? Static pages. That was a pain if you needed to change one thing, particularly with the ads. Right, because if an advertiser stopped or the ads need to change, you need to go on every single page and change that.
Yeah.
So a lot of find and replace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Notepad find and replace. Started to use Dreamweaver, right? So that helped with a kind of quasi template kind of thing. Not really a template. It would still have to go and churn through all the HTML ads. And then, we kind of switched over to ASP a little bit. And then when the whole database thing started and, we started to use PHP.
Right.
And, WordPress. So it's effectively a WordPress container.
Right.
With the forums inside it.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the technology hasn't changed much. I mean, we do have HTML5 ads and scripts and that kind of thing now.
Yeah.
But on the advertising side, this definitely the technology has sort of changed and improved because there's a lot more opportunity for advertising with the full page takeover.
Yeah.
Not the full page, the kind of drop down from the home page.
But, so
tell me about the different types of advertising opportunities, because there's that and then there's power sellers. Like, talk us through that and tell us how that all works.
Just the same way that that the forums and the site itself kind of evolved based on what people needed. The ads kind of evolved into that too, right? So, for example, that page takeover was nothing until this company LubeTech. They do Total, VP, Maguire's, Motul, Chevron, a couple of things. They wanted to do ad, but they wanted something different. They were talking about, could we see like the whole page full up with oil or something like that? And we actually did it.
Sick.
Ryan went through and made the whole thing full up with oil. Yeah. He's really good. He's really good. Yeah. And that started the page takeover. And, we've been selling those. We did movies. We did the last page takeover we did was for Hobbs and Shaw. And that's a booking from Universal Studios, so... Yeah, it's really changed. And in terms of the ads, well, we use Google Ad Manager, right? So that is like AdWords, but for publishers.
Okay.
So if you're a website publisher, you can install Google Ad Manager. It gives you the same tools, just like Google Ads. So, you could set a series of ads, all the programmatic stuff is there, right? What the cost per day or the CPM, the audience, your demographics.
Or you could choose audience and demographics within your website as well.
All of those things, right?
TriniTuner.
So we've geo-targeted ads for companies that have offices or operations in Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana, and we would target the Guyanese ads to Guyana, Barbados ads to Barbados, etc. Right?
Okay.
Then we've done...
So the users from TriniTuner from all over the Caribbean?
Yeah, we get some expats from... Sometimes you'd see something from Samoa or something like that.
But the biggest numbers would be Trinidad.
Definitely.
And then
85% of the traffic is probably like the US and Canada and then the UK.
Okay.
Would they be sort of like Trinidad that live abroad?
Yeah. That is more than likely what I think it is.
Yeah.
Because I can't see some arbitrary person from Newfoundland just deciding, they're going to check out TriniTuner every day.
Yeah. With all this growth of traffic and from all over the place, you must have like a powerful server or something that they have this. And you probably had to upgrade over time.
Thank Dry for that. That is Richard Williams. Yeah. Right? He's been keeping his site
That's
going.
why I heard of Dry. I've heard that name for that reason.
He's been keeping the servers going, ever since. In fact, initially we used to host on Webbers. That was Vladimir John.
Yeah.
Right, so Vlad used to host for us first, and then Dry kind of started up his own. So he did, at one point, TriniTuner and TriniScene were on the same bank of servers. Right, Casey and Ed, and they used to do their hosting there.
Yeah.
And the servers would keep running. We've had some crashes. There was this one time when they found some kids in a container, or supposedly, right, allegedly. I don't think it actually happened, but people just kind of flooded the forums to see what was going on, and the site came down.
This is some breaking news or something. Yeah.
Just server load.
Just server load.
Yeah.
Last night, I saw, I was on the forum and I saw, board temporarily offline. When I checked, the load is like 37, when it should really be 1.5 or something like that. And, so yeah, we do see things.
What was the spike about?
I want to feel it might be a bot or something like that.
Okay,
because I didn't really see anything. But,
spike,
every now and then, you'd see something happen. But Dry has been keeping things copacetic for years now. I think I get too comfortable, but we've kind of kept that technology with the ads, with the site, with the pages, keeping load times very fast.
Yeah. So you like cache the like the news aspect of it and like certain sections of the site?
We would use, whatever cache plugins they would have for like WordPress and PHPBB. PHPBB is what we use for the forums, right? I mean, we've looked at others, but PHPBB kind of suits us well. Plus, I think changing over to another forum platform would send users crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Where does come out?
That would be a huge risk. That would be a huge risk.
I'm
not sure about it.
But we've kept the technology. Not really that you're going to see a total difference on the face of the site, but in the back there's a lot of new technology working.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
So for advertisers, right? Okay, so there's the opportunity for the homepage takeovers. There's the banner ads that appear on the homepage and throughout the forums. What about stuff like you all do things like sponsored posts or any kind of sponsored content? Because I noticed there's like a blog or news where they have reviews from events or stories on events.
So what we do is, we don't have we show all the ads on all the pages.
Yeah.
So we don't have section ads. So we don't have like a homepage ad and a forum ad and a new car.
Right. So they rotate evenly throughout.
They rotate evenly throughout, unless
it's targeted in a way.
Yeah, unless it's targeted in a way. So what we would do is, once you're running that ad, it would show across all the pages based on the rotation that's set up. Whatever the bid is, whatever the amount of impressions that you're supposed to get, etc. With the page takeovers, it would show us a strip on top of all the pages. When the user visits the site for the first time, using cookies, it would pop up the ad and show it to them. Once they close it, it won't show again for them for another 12 hours.
Right. Okay.
Right? And now that time period could change, but and that was something Ryan actually came up with.
Okay.
We would check events in analytics to see each time it popped up and what the user would have done. Now, a lot of times they want to use video ads for that. So, the video would autoplay with audio. We find YouTube is a good way to do that because it would play on literally any device. So
it's like embedded YouTube.
Correct.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, embedded videos don't accrue views on YouTube. So if your YouTube video was placed on someone's website, people could look at it 1,000,000 times.
Right.
It will not show any views on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right.
Okay.
It used to. YouTube stopped that.
Right.
That won't count for views, but a lot of times people, advertisers, just want the ad to be seen. So once we show that it has been clicked on, it would autoplay. So once it pops up, and it's there for more than 5 seconds,
then you can count that as a view.
Right.
Okay.
Same thing with the ads. We have the ads set up in a way that the viewable ads is what we really report on. A page might load. It might have an ad space way down to the bottom of the page. We don't check that as a view unless the person actually scrolls down there. Then it would load.
Right. Okay.
So those are some of the settings we put in because we don't think that
you want your analytics to be as accurate as possible when you're giving reports.
Plus, it helps us to try to learn what is
happening.
If every time someone comes to a page and there's something down at the bottom and you check it as a view, you can't do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So in terms of reporting and looking at what users are doing, because it's absolutely not a linear site. People don't come to the homepage first and then go to other pages. Okay. They may enter from the Old Talk forum, and they may enter from some arbitrary thread somewhere.
Right. Okay.
The search engine stuff has is have me wondering sometimes, like at least once a week, because we have our 68 tuner number, right? At least once a week, I will get a call from some lady asking, how much are you selling the stove for? Right? or the stove is 5 burner or
because they think you're all selling it.
Yeah. So
they think TriniTuner is selling it.
The first time it happened, I was like, and this was like years ago. The first time it happened, I was like, what?
What are you talking
Right? So she was like, I look for stoves. So I said, tell me what you search for. She said, well, it's a console stove I'm looking for. So I went and I typed console stoves. That's it. Right? Hit enter. TriniTuner is the first thing that pops up.
Yeah.
Way
Right.
in Google.
In Google.
Yeah.
Way.
Right? Because in 2017, someone started a thread and the topic is console stoves.
Right.
Now, what happened is console, I don't know if they changed their numbers or what the deal is, but people can't seem to find it.
Yeah.
So they search Google and then they click
find-
TriniTuner.
yeah.
They don't see any information. They click about contact us and call the number.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens for
Yeah,
a
but
whole
start
bunch
selling
of
some
things.
console stoves.
Yeah. You know, so actually, like parts, a lot of people, like, they may not really understand what they're looking at. They did a Google search, they found it, they're seeing a page, you know, the page has ads on it, whatever, but they're not so sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
They are more accustomed to Facebook pages. You know, in fact, that's one of the things that I see happening more and more. The carriers have packages that give you access to Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram maybe, right? But you don't actually have data for, you know, websites and that kind of thing. So a lot of people think Facebook is the internet.
Yeah.
So, you know, I search, somebody tell them, well, why...
Is that a thing, like, people actually think Facebook is the internet?
Some people
There are
do.
people out
absolutely
there
think so.
that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
When
Because I've heard
That's
this
outside our world,
discussed
you know,
before,
but-
you know. I've heard this discussed before.
yeah, absolutely.
So
I say
all they know is Facebook.
that is all. They think Facebook is the internet.
Right.
So someone tells them, you know, well, why do go on TriniTuner and see, you know, and they would go on our
They probably want
Facebook
Facebook and
page.
search
Yeah,
for
yeah.
TriniTuner.
and they're not finding it. So then they send us a message saying, you know, someone told me, you all selling a car. We don't sell anything. You all selling a car, and you know, I'm looking for the car and I'm not seeing it. And then I have to explain to them, you know, well, firstly, we don't sell anything. People
Right.
use our site.
To
So
post,
then I would tell them, you know, well, go to TriniTuner.com, and then they'd tell me it's not working. Right, and that's when I realized, oh, you don't have data.
Right.
You know, you just
Because they can't. Yeah, they can't.
no,
do it
I don't know
from
if those
Facebook
packages are still a thing because that hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah.
No, it's a thing though where you get where
You get social.
you get a social package. Yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not data to. you
No,
know,
yeah,
right,
you're correct.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it might be like WhatsApp and Facebook.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, so
I didn't even think about
there are
that.
all sorts
Yeah.
of quirks and weirdness that you come across because I mean we have like 90,000 registered active members, right?
Sorry, say that again.
90,000.
90,000.
Yeah, registered members.
Registered.
Those are people that we have
Yeah,
that
yeah,
have
yeah.
accounts,
Yeah.
username and password and whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
they've
the
been
rest is
using
just kind of like lurkers, people
Yeah,
who
just
visit.
no
and-
account. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. We keep it completely open.
Yeah. So
You
can
don't need
still
to log in to
you can
view.
still read all of these forums and take part.
Correct. If you want to reply, you would need an account. You know, and if we see duplicate accounts for users, those would get pruned out. Things people put for sale gets pruned out. So most of the stuff that you see there is active unless it's the tech forums. We tend to leave stuff up there. So you see stuff there from 2004, 2005, etc.
Right.
You know.
All right. So tell me a little bit about the power sellers. How does that work?
So that was actually a thing Roll came up with early on.
Yeah.
So what around 2004 as well, 2003, people wanted to sell stuff on the forums. And
The
we
classifieds
created-
were developed already at this point?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Right. We had it there. People were posting stuff for sale, but then we had no problem with a guy. You know, he has a set of wheels or he has a laptop for sale or whatever. But then someone would come and they're selling laptops.
Yeah. It's like a business. Like I
That's
am
a
running a
business.
business. I'm not one
He
guy.
has a kiosk. He has
that
a
wants to
kiosk
sell
in the
my
mall or
laptop.
something. And he's
Yeah,
selling
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we realized, look, you know, we need to find some way to control this. So we came up with the power seller status. And to be honest, it's been $600 for 6 months since 2004. We've never changed the price.
That's a good
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And we...
To me, some of those power sellers are real big.
Oh, yeah,
Some of them
definitely.
are real big.
Some of them
It's
have
like-
moved on
It's
to
Titan
full businesses.
procurement, one Titan
Yeah.
procurement. there's progressive something that one of the first iPads I bought was from them, and it was because of the TriniTuner forum. And to me, they now have they have like a huge social media presence, and
absolutely
they seem to be very big.
Highly Reactive started selling T-shirts on the forum, Aeropostal, things like that, and now he has two or three stores in the malls, right? One in Gulf City, one in Price Plaza, one in want to say Long Circular, West Mall, something like that.
Right.
But
so people have successfully sort of grown
started a business and then grow it and then continue. And you know, sometimes they don't need the power seller again, and that's fine. You know, the thing is, it's for a particular, you know, if you're trying to reach a particular audience at that point in time, it's great for that. But we also have like big companies who have power seller accounts as well.
So that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So just like an individual might create a topic on, let's say, photography, for example. Do brands, are they like daring enough to create an own topic? So like could an insurance company go in and start talking about insurance and have a topic about insurance?
It has been done. It has been done a number of times before.
Yeah.
It's not something that we really see happening. I think from the blogging aspect, it's something local companies haven't really dived into as yet. I think it's something they absolutely should do. Native advertising, do follow links, things like that are definitely all the rage, right? We do get requests from foreign companies asking to post links, you know, on our website, because it means that the more backlinks you have, the better the rank for your page would be. Right? So they would ask
Google's always kind of changed that a little bit. But,
they do. But
right
now,
that
Moz authority is really based on a lot of backlinks, and that gives you page rank. So people would ask us to post links to our site, right? On our site, they would provide an article, and you know, depending on what it is, if it's car related, I would charge them for it and post it up. Otherwise, we tend to keep our own content. But it is something I've been trying to encourage local companies to do. You know, write about if you're an insurance company, write about what to look for in a policy. You know, things to look out for, things to avoid, ensure that you have special perils.
And they would post that article to the forum or to the site, news site area?
To the news site. So what I realize happens is that it won't go into the forums because neither the agency nor the marketing department at the company has the human resources to be able to monitor and continue.
Right.
And that is very important.
Yeah, because a thread is something that's always going.
Yeah.
They never reach the end, right?
Exactly.
It's like it lives forever.
Yeah. It will always be there. Now, a corporate entity would have the ability to, remove negative comments. Plus, that's been our rule on the forum for a long while. We don't allow business complaints, personal business complaints.
Right.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you were to go and find some thing in your food. You would absolutely not be able to come up on the forum and blast that company about it.
Right.
Okay.
But if it's something that's newsworthy, that affects everyone,
right,
we would allow it.
Okay.
Right? It would be heavily monitored to ensure that nobody jumping in and just because once you make a personal claim, the onus is really on us to be the publishers of that libelous or slanderous comment.
Yeah.
To us it's just a post. So among tens of millions of posts. So we're not going to bear that brunt. Plus, a lot of times you find that people, they just complain. You would never see somebody go and post up, hey, this was fantastic. That happens far less than the amount of complaints that you would get. You know?
Yeah.
So just to mitigate that a little bit, we kind of put things in place. But we would really like to see companies embrace, and not just on TriniTuner, I mean in general. So you would see companies, they struggle for content to put on their Facebook pages or their Instagram posts. They hire companies to come up with content to put there. Sometimes they use memes in a bad way that
I know, cringy.
You know?
Like, dude.
Yeah, I've seen
Why
all
are
the
you
time.
using that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
okay,
Or
just
they
to
use
be
it
hip.
wrong.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, they, as a company, every company has good content that they could be putting out. One company I've been looking at.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
There's a good story there, but the ability to actually create that content, I
Right.
think, might not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they've had people who would come out and actually embrace it, and they would use it properly. You know, like I've seen companies come on the forums and build cred with the community.
Right.
You know, oil companies who come and say, you know, hey, they see this user has lifter noise in the diesel pickup or something like that, and say, you know, come down and check us out. You know, you could try this product, and the user actually goes back, and he's now a brand ambassador for them for free, right? You know, for a few quarts of oil, right? And that is the kind of thing that we try to encourage. It doesn't happen very often, but it is absolutely something that we've seen work and work well for them. I would like to see local companies kind of embrace that a little more. Even on their Facebook page, you know, you don't really see them posting stuff about, well, not, Facebook, any kind of social media. You wouldn't really see them posting about what the company is doing or what happened today. All of that is content. One company I saw that does that a lot is Ramps Logistics. I don't know if you ever check them out on LinkedIn. Right? Check them out. They post daily about all kind of stuff that they're doing.
Yeah. So a good kind of behind the scenes type of type of content.
Today,
you see, the only way to do that is if that social media activity is coming from internally. Like somebody inside the business is there to capture.
Yeah.
Where a lot of companies are going through agencies or they're going through some freelancer who sat at home somewhere. You know, so they're not actually inside the company to be able to capture that content. They kind of pull in stuff from online and repurposing things and using Shutterstock and slapping a logo on it and a caption.
What you write.
So it's not real, it's not authentic.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. What you write, like a couple of years ago, one of the guys that would do a lot of work on the site, on the WordPress side of the site, Casey Ramuta, right? His username on the forum was STI Kid. He's young. And
you just dox him there, but
he's no, everybody knows. Everybody knows that. Casey has been around, you know, the motorsport community for a while. He's at Garage Fresh right now, and he would do a lot of the updating and some of the article writing and that kind of thing, and it brings a fresh, young perspective into, you know, what we are doing, because I kind of got a little frowsy with the writing. You know, in terms of, I don't want to say, you know, some real old man words kind of thing, but then when, you know, we started to use,
you don't know the hip language,
right. You know, like
young whippersnappers.
Correct. You know, so that was refreshing, and you know, we saw good traction with that. But even like some of the photography, you know, you would see some of the photographers taking photos that absolutely blew mine. And you know, that content is king. So companies need to be able to understand that they have to put out content to get that kind of following. It's not just about putting out ads.
And then where you put it out and utilizing the platforms correctly and what's available correctly.
They should be talking about, you know, like financing, for example, auto financing. Talk about it. Talk about the process that it takes. You know, one of the things that is very much searched on the forum is transferring a vehicle, that process that you go through. So, you know, we have topics like that.
You see, everything you're talking about there is what is the type of content that can add value to
and
somebody's,
you don't feel like you're being advertised
life,
to as
and
well.
you don't feel like you're being advertised to.
Correct.
You know, all these things where, you know, something happens and then a company tries to be the first to have the meme. You know, and sure, it might get a bunch of views and whatever. And, you know, Carib was actually real good at that for a good year or so. They had some good stuff, you know. I mean, they were getting views or whatever, but I think what you're describing there, you know, how to do a transfer and that kind of thing, if it's relevant to your company, that's stuff that adds value.
Absolutely.
And people will keep coming back for more, or subscribe or follow your page more closely if the content is something that adds
and it's
value,
something people look for all the time, and you want to word it in a way like, how to get the best financing locally.
It's a lot more work
like,
though.
Down payments. Well,
it's a lot more work than pulling a photo from Shutterstock, a lifestyle type photo with a caption and some clever Facebook, copy to go with it. Because you're now talking about like writing an article.
Yeah, and
so if a company wanted that, could they go to you and you?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that for a number of companies
people that would
already.
write stuff for them.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Right. What we prefer is that a lot of times it's a lot of back and forth between us, our writers, and the client.
Well,
It's always best if the marketing people could kind of give a draft of what they want, and then we could kind of work into it. It works out better that way.
Or at least a sort of wireframe or bullet points of what needs to be touched on.
In the text too, using those links. So you talk about financing, and you link that word to their website.
Yeah.
All of those things work.
Yeah.
Right? A whole lot better than, you have a video ad. Because once people are changing their format, you're asking a lot from them. It's kind of like you're driving on the road, you see a billboard, and it says, visit this website. That is not going to work because you're now asking them to either whip out the phone at that point in time, which is completely dangerous.
Yeah.
Or when they get home to remember to go, so changing format on a customer. I always like the idea of having QR codes and printed publications. You could just snap it right there and watch a video. That's fine. But what you want to do is you have someone read an article, they found it, they click a link, they will click a next link, right? They want to learn more about it. So using all of those things. And it's a growing process. Working with the client to figure out, what works, what doesn't work, etc. And using some of the experience that we've had, we know users are not going to click on that, right? We know users will probably look at this a little better. What time of the day they'll respond. We've done ads for advertisers, and we've shown one ad in the morning, right? A different ad in the afternoon. A different ad on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So like for KFC, we do the terrific Tuesdays on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then change to Mega Meal and things like that.
I was working in an agency that was handling KFC. I'm not sure if they still handle them, but KFC was placing ads with one of the newspapers. I'm not going to say who. But they had a serious issue where the newspaper was not really able to show those ads on specific days,
Right.
So the technology side of thing, I think, is very important to be able to
the thing is the
either
agency,
schedule by time or by days or
whoever is looking at that campaign, they're doing a good job in terms of keeping the content fresh all the time. Sometimes we have advertisers, and you want to keep that content there going. Obviously, you see some of them have content that's more pertinent to the readers that we have. Some are automotive related, some are food related, some are general merchandise, etc. And again, our users are across the board, but it depends on the narrative, what the ads are really talking about. It is really trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and using that experience to get that done.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so we're getting close to kind of wrapping up, but before we do, what do you see as the future of TriniTuner when it comes to the users, and then also what is the future of TriniTuner when it comes to like advertising opportunities? Like where are you taking it? What are the plans?
So one of the things that we've been looking at in terms of growth. A couple of years ago, teamed up with Aaron Besser, and develop TT Auto Guide.
Yeah.
Right. That was mostly Aaron. And we want to be able to renew that a little bit in terms of, doing more reviews, allowing some of the activity from TriniTuner onto TT Auto Guide in terms of,
so they see
the
some more
advertisers.
integration
Well,
in there?
yeah, so one of the things that kind of got TT Auto Guide going in the first place is a popular section on TriniTuner is the new car prices topic.
Right, yeah.
And that is user populated. But we wanted to be able to have the dealerships tell us what the prices are and have it for local vehicles. Because you could go and look at a video of a Hyundai Tucson on YouTube, right, from Australia or something like that. But it doesn't have the same trim that we have. It has sat-nav and
Slightly
whatever.
different,
So we wanted to show what is available here in the colors that here and the price that's here and everything. Offer financing and also insurance, right? Eventually getting to the point where, we'd actually be selling vehicles. But in terms of the TriniTuner side, advertisers could now advertise on both sides.
Okay.
Right? So, another thing that kind of lends to that too is that always looking at Google ads, Google has set up a network of websites globally that you can advertise on.
Yeah.
There isn't something like that locally. And the reason why I think, I'm never about reinventing the wheel. I never think, I don't think a local version of eBay or a local version of Amazon makes sense. There's Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do online shopping locally, right? But it's probably better for each individual company to have their website and you do e-commerce there, right? However, there are a bunch of smaller publishers, right, like ourselves, that have an audience and can show ads, but it is tough for them to go through that and make the pittance that Google Ads offers, right? But if we were to bring a whole bunch of publishers together and then go to the agencies and go to the companies and say, look, we have this network of people, of publishers. So you have like Tech News TT, you have Outlish, you have Wired 868, you have TriniTuner, you have Newsday, you have Express, you have Guardian, etc. All of these local publishers that bring far better engagement for local ads than... Because, you're on CNN.com, you're not going to click ad. Even if it's on Mario's or whoever, a local advertiser. If you're on a local site, you tend to click on it more, and we do see it in the numbers. We absolutely see it in the numbers. So, creating that local network is something we want to look at.
So you want to work closer with other sort of websites?
Yeah. And we've always been about, like Zos, for example, we could have competed, right? But I don't ever see that as making sense. One of the reasons we don't really have quote-unquote employees is because I would much rather, if someone comes to us as a photographer, as a journalist, and say, hey, I want to work for you, I would say, hey, what? Let's start your company, right? Come put a name, a logo, and you develop your own company, and you could go and work for anybody else. Still do work for us and voice us for it. And that way we have a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. I really believe in entrepreneurism and building that thing for yourself. And we all work for each other. So that relationship we have with Ryan Ulton Interactive, with Dry, with everybody. Those are
nobody's
things.
employed. Everybody kind of feels like they're
Casey has went on
partnering
digital,
up to do these things.
Garage Fresh, Zos Magazine, whatever it might be. We always work with each other as separate entities. And some of the advertisers we have, I know they could benefit from, getting wider exposure on a local network. But it doesn't make sense that they have to deal with this one and that one and that one and that one. It's just too much.
I think there's a local company who is trying to do something like that. I don't know how far they're getting. It's a Irish guy or...
Yeah, so that's Robbie Burns. Right, and James Kay and Robert DeGans.
Right.
So they have Social Core, and then they have OMP.
OMP.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
OMP, Online Media Partners, they run ads with us. They have Guardian Express, Newsday, and TriniTuner.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, so you're
we are part
in their
of that
platform.
network.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But again, it's a little tough to try and get companies unless you really grow out the network. So I could understand it being a little challenging to be able to get the kind of bookings that you want.
But I think companies definitely have to kind of, I think as Trini on the whole, I think we need to kind of share more.
Yeah, come together.
Absolutely.
And
collaborate.
work together. That is the only way to kind of bring the whole, move the whole industry forward instead of kind of working in silos, you know?
Correct.
Which was kind of part of the reason why we wanted to have this show or this platform in the first place, is so we could, you know, hear your stories, hear stories from like Aaron. We talking to Kyle from First Tomorrow,
right.
you know? And there's a lot of learnings, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the only way we could really make it work is to really collaborate and because, to tell you the truth, initially I may have felt traffic-wise we were competing with like Guardian, Express, Newsday's websites for top ranking on Alexa, let's say, right? And for ad budgets from agencies.
Yeah.
But now we're all competing with the likes of Google and Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tough.
Definitely.
Those are monoliths.
Yep.
Right? It's kind of tough to compete with them. But when you look at the numbers and you look at those click-through rates and those engagement levels, we could absolutely go toe-to-toe with them and not feel, like we getting beat down.
No, you're right though, because the click-through rates that you're talking about is way higher than
it will
than
be.
what you're getting through,
Think about it. You're on Newsday's website, right? And you see an ad for a local insurance company, for example. You would quicker click that than you would for seeing the same insurance ad on recipes.com, right? That was booked through Google Ads. But from an agency standpoint, it's easier for them to sell Google Ads, right? Because it means that they could now go and tell the client, hey, I put in your ad on every site around the world, right? However, when you look at the click-through rates, it's not as high.
It sounds better, but in actuality, it's not.
No.
Really.
And I mean, we all know how much we just bypass ads, right? But it helps a lot if the ad is pertinent to what you're looking at. Remarketing is something that we also don't tend to use a lot here. You would see if you look at a shoe on Amazon, it kind of following you all around the place, right? We need to start to use things like that. Now we have the technology to do it. It's just
this is for TriniTuner,
absolutely.
So you see an ad in TriniTuner, and then you go to Facebook, and the ad is there. Is that what you're saying?
Let's say, for example, you are a banking customer. You visit their website. You saw something and you clicked it. Or you saw an ad somewhere and you clicked it. You visited their website. Then you'd start seeing those ads on our site, or particularly the section that you were looking for. So it's just a matter of using that retargeting and remarketing to be able to serve those ads. What we would like to see is companies kind of embracing that a little more, but it is not something that we really see happening right now.
So I have a question. So you were able to kind of, you did it. Built one of the, would you say is the first? You were before TriniTuner?
TriniScene.
Sorry, before TriniScene and those guys?
Yeah. About a year or two.
About just by a year or two.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for somebody who's trying to...
back then they were bigger than us. We were trying to figure out how the hell, because they were getting ad budgets and they were getting, they were making money. Then Facebook came along and people was like, well, I posted up my own
album
photo
right there.
and they didn't, Lime TT2 kind of succumb to that a little bit. But
no, a lot of those websites got big off of party pics and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was before Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
And
now you get your party
some
pics
of them
on Facebook.
still do well, but they operate within those social media sites rather than really their own website.
Through their own website. Yeah.
What we've seen, I mean, when we started, then we've seen them pop up, and then we've kind of continued, and I am very much into the eat little live long kind of mantra, but things are changing, right? Things are definitely changing. When we rolled out the mobile app, I was worried that it would cannibalize the site, and it has been. But we've been able to use analytics to see where that shift over takes place and how.
But you can serve ads through the app as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Now the app doesn't have everything the website has on it.
No, because you won't have the page takeovers and all that stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
We also don't have like all the blog articles and events and that kind of thing in the app. The app is really an easier way to use the forums.
Yeah.
Which is, and the reason why we do that is because we don't want the entire app to be the site.
Yeah.
Because then it would cannibalize it.
Yeah.
What we want is the
easy access to the forums.
Easy access to the forums.
Yeah.
If you want to post something for sale, check your messages, whatever it might be, the app is the way to do it. Quickly post something from your camera roll. But if you want to browse the site works perfectly well. It's responsive, so it works perfectly well
on mobile.
Right? And you get all the takeovers, and the ads show on both the website and the mobile app. And that is something that we've kept for the advertisers. I mean, luckily we've had good long relationships with a lot of advertisers. We have the new car companies, like right now we have Answer Motors, we have companies like Forensis, which offer great service. We have like KFC, we've had like NP, that has been there since 2002, right? We've had, we have the banks, we have Scotiabank, we have, we've had like First Citizens and Republic and RBC. We've had RBC there since 2004, I believe, right? RBC has been running their campaigns.
So that's good. So like good long-term partnerships.
And some of the car brands too. Like we have the oil brands. So it really is building relationships with those customers. A couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, a guy reached out to me from Turkey. Sergi something was his name, and he wanted to buy TriniTuner. And I was like, okay. So he was like, okay, we have a company called.
Sure, that's not some kind of scam, boy.
Well, I thought it was first. I ignored him at first, and then he kept, with it. And then one day he called.
Right.
Don't even know we got my number because my number isn't on the site.
Wow. Okay.
But he called, and I was like, okay, this guy's serious, and he's telling me, he has this company called Larixon. And what they do is they buy out incumbent websites in third world countries. Well, he didn't say third world countries. He just said
developing nations.
He didn't even say that. He just when he showed me the countries, I realized what was going on. Honduras and some North African countries and whatever. And what he does is that he would take those sites that are primarily classified type sites, and they would take it over and build it. You either get paid off completely or you continue working with them to grow it. I declined. Mainly, one, the price wasn't that great. But the other thing is I asked him, I said, well, how do you plan to continue the relationship with the advertisers that we have and the online community and,
and not have somebody
what
ground.
we do. So he said, well, we have ways to deal with that. We do it in a lot of countries.
We have ways.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, they definitely have ways of getting traction because that is, it turns out he is pin.tt, right?
Okay.
So Larixon basically...
Pin.tt is not a local guy?
No. Based in Turkey, Larixon... it's Larixon. You could.
I think Larixon, maybe that's the platform or something. Because I think pin.tt is... what is this agency that closed down? Next to Valles and Torrey. Roster Advertising.
Yeah.
There was a guy that used to work there.
Right. Well, maybe he was
Maybe
in contact
he's-
with them, but
yeah.
exactly what that guy was talking about, and that is what they came up with
Right.
after.
Okay.
Because I would see the logo and all that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and they don't really. It's not like an API or a platform, as far as I know. But they build out sites all over the world.
Right.
You know, that do
okay.
exactly that.
Right.
And they would advertise the hell out of it and get traffic, and that's how they make money.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you know, we've gotten offers like that. We've had some competitors over the years. We would much rather work with, you know, people than compete.
Yeah.
We think that's a better way to do it. And yeah, I mean, we want to look at doing some merch later on. You know, definitely maybe for the 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even my online store for console stoves or something like that. But, yeah, it's...
So
it's,
what are the plans for your 20th? Your 20 years anniversary.
Ooh.
You're gonna have a big event, or
I have no idea.
What are you gonna do?
I've been taxing my brain.
you
trying
did
to
anything
figure
for the 10th?
Yeah, so for the 10th we had a few things. One of the things we did was like, you know, you'd have like that Nissan emblem or Mitsubishi emblem or something like that on your car.
Yeah.
There was a company in China, and one of the power sellers, to the Max Auto, he had organized to get these TriniTuner emblems done. So we did those for our 10th anniversary, and we gave them away. We sold some. We thought we would have seen it on people's cars all over the place, because we did thousands of them.
Yeah.
It didn't happen
Right.
because people kept it in the case and send us pictures. Hey, look, I still have this in the case. And I was like, I wanted you to put it on your car so, you know, a lot of other people could see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, you know, but we were kind of happy that, you know, people wanted to keep that, you know, we had the brand equity that people would want to hold on to it and keep it, you know. So, yeah, we want to do some more merch later on, you know, kind of roll that out, see what else. But
All right, so we're coming up to almost 1 and 40 minutes there. So before we close off, what I would want to ask you is like, you know, so you've kind of been there, been able to create and build and grow successful online business in Trinidad. And for somebody else who maybe they have an idea, maybe it's not something like yours, but it might be an app or it might be some digital kind of startup. You know, what kind of advice would you have for
absolutely
for
go
that
for it.
person?
I mean, like I've spoken to some students. I've done some guest lectures at Lockjack Uni, and the last set I did was for some Form 6 students that doing their IA in e-business and entrepreneurism.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things I would tell them is even if you have a job, right? I mean, I could
Well,
say this
you
directly
gave
to
us
you,
the example.
right? You know, even if you have a job, you could go ahead and create content.
Yeah.
You can monetize it and definitely go after it and get it done. It is absolutely possible.
Do you think it's easier now?
A whole lot easier.
I mean, our internet is way faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a camera that could do video or whatever is a lot
Absolutely.
cheaper than it used to be.
A whole lot easier.
I mean, if you want to learn After Effects or video editing or whatever, there's
YouTube.
a YouTube video for that. You don't even have to spend a set of money, put yourself in debt, you know?
It's a whole lot easier. I mean, back then, I couldn't call anybody to find out, well, so how do you do this? You know, a simple thing like setting up PayPal.
Yeah.
You know, I called the bank, they said, no, that's not possible. I asked PayPal, they said, that's not possible. Right?
It means a cash out.
Yeah. So I just went and tried it. It worked. And then I put up a post on TriniTuner saying, hey, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Exactly.
it gets a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Nobody can cash out on PayPal and into your Trini bank account?
Yes. So what you can do is you could cash out to a local credit card. Right?
Right,
yes.
Once
I
it's
think I
a
heard
Visa
that.
card, not
Yeah.
MasterCard.
Yeah.
But a good way to do it is use like a VTM card, a Visa Travel Money card. It's a debit card, and that way you don't have some of the fees, and the money could stay as US or TT or whatever you want it to
Right,
do.
yeah.
It's easier to manage on a credit card.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are services now like Payoneer that would
I heard
go
about
straight
them.
to your
Yeah.
bank account.
Yeah.
So you can use that as well. But everybody kind of struggling to get US currency, and a lot of these companies paying in US.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to kind of get some US currency on the side, develop your site, and one thing I realize is people behave as though websites are dead. Everything is Facebook, everything is Instagram, whatever. Websites are absolutely not dead. I mean, companies need websites.
What I keep telling, I mean, when I was in advertising, telling clients is Facebook owns everything.
Yeah.
Right? And it's there.
Yeah.
You have to pay to play in their system.
Yeah.
If you have your own website and you have a good website, I think that's what counts because it's yours.
Yeah.
Is yours.
Proof here. I mean, we have a very small social media. Yeah. We probably have about 34,000 people on our Facebook page and only about 4,000 on our Instagram.
Right.
And to tell you the honest truth, we only post there because it feels like I know that you have to be on social media, right? So just to keep things active, we will post it every now and then, but we're not using that to drive traffic to the site. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We just have it because, you need to be there.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I was looking at is TikTok and Snapchat and...
Oh, good, TikTok. I had a look inside there.
I think we're too old for that. Yeah. To tell you the truth, I don't know if Dexter could help me figure this out, but what it is with this, like a story... It's temporary content.
Yeah.
Right? Makes absolutely no sense to me at all. I just can't figure it out. Why would I want to post anything temporarily? As a publisher, I know that I post so that it's there. It
started off for sending, your friends, intimate friends things.
Snapchat,
they decided to make it.
I think, but everybody has stories now. Even YouTube has stories. Right? I just... But so that's a pet peeve.
But yes, for young people, you think the time is now.
The time is always now.
The time is now.
The time is always now.
There's a lot of opportunity. Anything you want to learn is right.
Give us a shout.
Accessible.
Find out how to do it. We will. I'll be real happy to help somebody and say, look, this is how you go about doing it.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to sort of like reach out to you online, you on Twitter or any of the social networks or that kind of thing, or they'll find you in the forums and the TriniTuner forums.
Come post it up on the forums we'll have a whole bunch of people talk to you about it.
Yeah.
The thing is, as Dexter says, now is the time. Now is always the time.
Yeah.
Get it going. Blog about something. It could be literally anything. Camera equipment, tech stuff, anything. I mean, when you see some of these big YouTubers like MKBHD, where they started from.
I watch his. I keep telling you him as an example.
He's fantastic. He is fantastic.
From his first video where he's this little guy in little glasses and he's on a webcam and he's. I think it was a remote control or something he was interviewing from there. And 10 years later, where he is now, it just goes to show if you do something,
correct,
consistently,
stick with it.
You put in the time and you stick with it.
Linus Tech Tips is driving me crazy, but he's doing really well, So, and there's so much tools now that kind of lets you build stuff, Wix, and you don't even need to know. I can't remember the last time that I've actually coded anything from scratch.
Right.
I have Ryan and all the rest of them to do that. But a lot of it is just even if you open some code, it's just to fix something. Move around, change small things, whatever.
Yeah, you can do a Wix or WordPress. I mean, you can get a YouTube tutorial to learn how to build a website without really coding. I do it. I'm not a coder, and I could build a little WordPress something.
Absolutely.
So 100%. There's a lot of opportunity there. So, all right. Well, Duane, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming over. And maybe we could do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's a whole lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
We could keep going.
There is a whole lot we could talk about. This was good. I mean, I really like the idea of the house lime. Is really good. We definitely need to see more of this.
I
really looking forward to the videos and hearing what other people
Have
in
to
the
say
industry
as
have
well.
to say as well.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we have this kind of thing like, nah, I ain't calling him, you know, or if I call him, he might feel I don't know or something.
Yeah.
We really need to, you know,
To share more.
share more.
Collaborate.
That's what it's about.
You know?
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Easy.
Have a good one.
All right,
Yeah,
later.
man.
Yep.